Hey, welcome back to another episode of the AI Equation Podcast, where we explore the intersection of AI and innovation. I'm your host, Alex, and today I'm going to be talking to you about 10 stories that we think are important in the world of AI. I hope you've enjoyed the last few episodes. The last one, we talked about the impact of AI in the job market, which is top of mind for all of us, whether you're on the employee or employer side. We also covered back in April AI and creativity, AI and copywriting, which is very important to me and to my co-founder at Article Factory. As you all know, we've built the app for copywriting, for SEO, for marketers, and companies to use so that they can do their copywriting in a way that can streamline the entire process. So that's AI and copywriting. We talked about that. We also talked about productivity, which is a topic that I keep hearing from business owners and career-minded people who are saying, hey, why should I really be using AI? So one of the first stories that I want to lead with here today are some of the stats, AI usage at work. So in terms of AI usage at work, there was a report, a research study that was done by Microsoft and LinkedIn. It's their annual called the Work Trend Indexed Annual Report. So in the last 6 months, generative AI has doubled, meaning the usage at work has more than doubled. And a few other key stats that I found interesting were broken up into 4 different demographics, age groups. So Gen Z, which are those 18 to 28 years old, 85% of them in this survey answered that they are using it at work. Millennials, 29 to 43-year-olds, 78% of them. So that's about 7% less. Gen Xers, which are 44-year-olds to 57-year-olds, 76% of Gen Xers are using it at work. And then baby boomers, 58 and above, are using it at the rate of 73%. So what do those numbers actually tell us? Well, it tells us that already more than 2/3, and in some cases as much as 85% of professionals are using AI in some fashion or another. So this is something important for you to think about, right? It's about creativity, it's about productivity, just having more time to focus on what you do well rather than trying to do everything yourself. And a couple of other stats that was interesting in the report is that 52% are reluctant to admit that they are actually using it in the organization. So there's that sort of, I don't want to let everybody know that my work is being done with AI. But then my second story is actually about vocabulary and words, because when we create anything using AI, I actually tell my chatbot to not use certain words like delve into and unlock. And there's so many other words, but the University College London did this analysis, and his name is Andrew Gray. What he found was that certain words are associated with AI, including words like intricate, meticulously, and commendable. So they've become more common in academic writing since 2023 as compared to 2022. So that suggests that researchers are increasingly turning to LLMs like ChatGPT to help in their writing papers, raising important questions about the reliability of the scientific writing, of course. Now, so you can take a look at that study. It's very interesting. You know, the other words that came out from adjectives, right? So adjectives that were AI associated: innovative, fresh, notable, noteworthy, potent, and many others were used hundreds and thousands of times. And then AI associated adverbs were undoubtedly, scholarly, strategically, reportedly, and meticulously, and some others. So just really interesting, and something for you to keep in mind that, you know, people are using it at work every day. Okay, so our third story I want to talk about here is about NVIDIA. I recently watched a report, a segment on 60 Minutes about NVIDIA, and it really tracked them from their humble beginnings to where they're now a titan in the world of AI. Only 4 companies, I did not know this, that only 4 companies in the world are worth more than $2 trillion. You've got Microsoft, Apple, Alphabet, which is Google, and the supercomputer chip maker NVIDIA. NVIDIA is the fourth company to be worth the valuation of more than $2 trillion. Now, how did a company founded in 1993 to improve video game graphics turn into a powerhouse of the 21st century? Well, let's find out. NVIDIA's journey in becoming a leader in AI started with a vision to revolutionize video game graphics. But as technology evolved, so did their ambitions. The NVIDIA CEO, very dynamic guy. He's always wearing black, like a black leather jacket. His name is Jensen Huang. He believes AI is about to change everything. And I think we're all in that same boat in the sense that we all can see what's the innovations from AI that have popped up in the last couple of years is incredible. And so, but his vision, Jensen Huang, it's just really interesting, their approach. NVIDIA he says, is committed to AI research and democratizing access to powerful computing resources. So their cutting edge technology is the backbone of today's AI revolution. So whether you're talking about OpenAI's ChatGPT, Google's Gemini, Facebook's Llama, Anthropic's Claude, the list goes on and on. You're going to need to do it with some of NVIDIA's chips, and they are at the forefront of this. So definitely it's a company that you should pay attention to. I was doing some figures. If you would have invested in NVIDIA 20 years ago, so look back at the stock, and if you look back at August 6, 2004, so that's less than 20 years ago, at that time, the stock was valued at 79 cents per share. Today, it's valued at $874 per share. So if you had invested $7,900, $7,900, that would have gotten you 1,000 shares in 2004. Your same 1,000 shares today would be worth $8.7 million. Now that's a company worth betting on, right? And so they're doing really amazing things. And because we care about what's going on in the industry, how it impacts the applications, of course, research and collaboration that is happening at the universities and at the industry level, NVIDIA is sort of like at the core of all of this, right? And whether we're talking about using AI for autonomous cars or healthcare or education, again, their chips are front and center. So what does the future outlook look like for AI and computing? And where does NVIDIA fit into the future landscape? Well, we can't speculate that they're going to continue to have this dominance, but what we can conclude just from listening to Jensen Huang is that they're not looking to sell or merge, get acquired by any other company. And so I feel like this is great because some of the other giants like Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Google, Meta, a lot of these tech companies have dominated the space. And now it's a little bit different in that they are depending a little bit more on other companies. And so it's really, I think, really good for the industry at large. Okay, my next story I want to talk to you about is OpenAI. They're developing a new tool called Media Manager. It's aimed at allowing creators to control the use of their intellectual property in AI research. Now, the tool is going to enable identification and management of copyrighted content such as text, images, audio, and video across different platforms. That's very exciting for us because we put a lot of time creating content in what we do. And so you want to make sure that that's protected, right? The initiative is coming in response to legal challenges from, as you all know, New York Times and so many other publications, media, authors who are taking OpenAI to court. And the criticism is valid, I think, because look, if you're the creator and you've copywritten your material and OpenAI doesn't have the proper authorization and is allowing users to create based on those original works, that doesn't work, right? And I think we've talked about this in other episodes here. Our government, the U.S. government, and even the European Union, some of the other countries that are sort of at the forefront, no one at this point is really creating guidelines that these organizations have to adhere to. It is really, truly just an arms race in the AI space. So the launch of Media Manager, I think, is important. It's a signal by OpenAI that they want to establish more ethical standards in the AI industry, and that's a good thing. But it also shows OpenAI's commitment to respecting and protecting intellectual property rights, potentially setting up new precedent for how AI companies handle content. So I think ultimately what we're going to see is that any material that is copywritten, sort of like we see on YouTube, where if you choose to put up a song that you don't have permission, they'll shut you down automatically. The AI can do that. Or maybe you're willing to pay a fee. So let's say I was going to write a post based on someone's other copywritten work. I may be willing to pay for that work, whatever the pricing model is. I'm not sure, but it would be a little bit like Spotify paying artists to play their music, right? So I think that there's definitely a solution to the problem, but it's certainly not going to be an easy one. So we're definitely going to watch what happens with this media manager initiative that they have here. Okay, our next story here is about Mistral AI. Mistral AI is a French company that sells artificial intelligence products. So they sell them to businesses, and they were founded in April of 2023. Their founders are from Meta Platforms and Google DeepMind, and to date they have raised over 385 million euros, and now they're looking at. They were valued at $2 billion, but now they're saying that their target valuation for Mistral AI is $6 billion, and they're looking to raise another $600 million on top of the 385 million euros. So this is an interesting company because I've been watching, as has my team, all the different companies, whether it's NVIDIA, Anthropic, and OpenAI, and others, what they're doing. And so it's always interesting to see a new player that is smaller but making big waves. So their valuation is really amazing. And Mistral has launched what's called the Mistral 8x22b model. It's a large language model with advanced efficiency features, receiving competitive scores in AI benchmarks. And some key investors include General Catalyst, Lightspeed Venture Partners, and notably, what was not there is SoftBank. They didn't participate in that round of fundraising. So I think it's important to talk about the companies, the venture capitalists, all the different organizations and funds that are investing in these companies, and then look at who their managing partners are, because ultimately, as the landscape changes, that there's going to be few by few might be like a few dozen or a couple hundred players who dominate the entire space. And we saw this with social media, right? We saw this in the smartphone industry. So technology has always happened, where you end up having just a handful of people who dominate and pull all the strings, and that's it's not good for competition, and it certainly is not good for companies, and it's certainly not good for consumers. So for me, I like to see competition. So that's why I think looking at a company like Mistral and seeing what they're doing is really, really, truly important. Okay, the next story that I have for you guys is about ChatGPT's search feature. So they've already released for Plus users in beta the feature to search. So they're going head to head with Google search. This is something that Sam Altman had said over and over and over that they weren't going to do, that it was not their goal to compete with Google in terms of search. But if you listen to our podcast episodes, even going back a year, we've been talking about this, in that no doubt that for most consumers, ChatGPT is going to make a great search engine for anything that you need. Why? Because currently there are no ads. So think about that user experience. Think about yourself using whether you're using Gemini or Claude or ChatGPT or Bing's Copilot. The user experience is seamless. I search for something and I get the information, and it's almost always accurate. Now it's different when you're creating. I think you do have to distinguish that. That search is different than creating content, creating something, and certainly different than finding information that is sponsored by media companies or affiliates, right? So I think that in terms of their big chat GPT search feature, I think it's going to be a hit. And I think it's going to be a hit because people are truly tired of using search engines like Google that really just want to monetize your time and your scrolling so that they can make money and monetize it for ads, right? So that I think this is going to be very interesting, and they're doing it right on the same day that Google's big conference is going to be playing. So that's going to be interesting. And then of course Apple had their big announcement for their iPhones, and the AI assistant that can transcribe, summarize, and capture lectures and all kinds of stuff. And again, Apple has been sort of, not doing much in the last couple of years as far as on the front end of AI, and so I think it's overdue. It's past due, definitely. I'm not a huge Apple fan, but we'll see what they do, and I'm sure it will be very competitive. And I think that overall, it is good to see more players in the space trying to um, give you tools so that you can do things better, right? All right, so my next story kind of comes back to OpenAI. OpenAI is always at the forefront of these stories because they're the ones who are moving and shaking in every which way when it comes to AI and large language models, right? So OpenAI, one thing that they just announced is that they are going to allow AI generated pornography. That really has me concerned. Has me concerned in a lot of different ways. First of all, they've already done. There's organizations who are looking at people who use AI for pornography, for pedophiles who create um, fake images where they may take the body of an adult and put it on, and then combine it with um, the face of a child. So I think this policy from OpenAI is terrible. It doesn't it doesn't coincide with their mission, and they're doing so many other great things that I just don't understand why they need to um, even consider such a thing. Their AI can absolutely shut down anyone trying to prompt the chatbot with these certain prompts, right? That are obscene. And so, but we'll see. I mean, obviously, it's not. They haven't fully announced it yet, but I'll be watching it because if that's the case, I don't think that parents should allow anyone under 18 to be using the system. So we'll keep an eye on that. But my last story today is also about um, our kids and AI. Anthropic um, just announced that um, they are creating an AI for kids. And some of that, there's other apps out there like Character AI that allows kids to have conversations with real famous people, like or characters from movies like a Harry Potter, for example. Um, and in their research, Character AI said that some of these kids are spending 2 hours a day talking to an imaginary character, right? Which is crazy because what we need more than anything for our youth is for them to get off the internet, get off the smartphones. And so I'm keeping my eye on what the federal government here in the U.S. is doing in terms of regulation like COPA and COSA and others. Um, the, the guidelines aren't clear. There are no clear guidelines actually. And so it's going to be interesting what happens. And then the group that was looking at this research, the group for democracy and technology, they did a study and said 29% use AI to deal with anxiety and mental health issues. 29%. So, the AI isn't a therapist, but that some kids are using it for that. 22% were using it for issues with friends. And then 16% were using it for family conflicts. So again, very, very concerning, some of these use cases. So what I would say to parents is, be very aware of which models your kids are using. Are they using Gemini, ChatGPT? Are they using Claude, Microsoft, Bing's Copilot? What are they using? Because it's concerning that companies like Anthropic and ChatGPT are allowing those even under 13 to use their systems. And on the other hand, they're saying, well, we're not going to keep people from using our systems to prompt it with things that really only those over 18 should have access to. So that's important. All right. So our last story today is actually a very exciting news about the increased investments in AI here in the US. Microsoft just announced alongside the Biden administration that they are investing $3.3 billion to build an AI center here in Wisconsin. This was the center that was supposed to house 13,000 employees. It was the Foxconn deal that the previous administration, Trump administration, had put in place, but it failed. And Foxconn, who also manufactures iPhones, they never finalized the deal. So that's the Chinese company, right? So anyways, Microsoft is going to build this, and they're going to house about 1,000 employees there and train them with the local colleges. So it's really exciting because it's a substantial investment into building AI centers here in the U.S. And another piece of news from Microsoft was that they're building on top of their AI, the ability for spy agencies to use these generative AI tools without the use of the internet, which then decreases the risk of hackers and things like that. So really, again, some interesting developments in the world of AI. And so today's episode, I wanted to just again dive into some of these that are monumental. No doubt, week in, week out, it feels like a week's worth of news is a year's worth of news in the world of AI, but it truly is exciting. And I hope that if you're listening to the podcast here, that you're immersed in AI and looking at the opportunities, whether it's in your personal life, in your education, in your health, or at work and in business. There's just so many opportunities, and I just am truly excited to be working in this space now. So I want to thank you for tuning in to this episode of the AI Equation Podcast. Be sure to subscribe for more insights into the fascinating world of AI.